All right, hey guys, we're going to work through the prayer experience outline here. This one is going to be a little bit longer, so be prepared for that. But just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. My wife says that I over-explain things, and so I'm going to explain things as much as I possibly can, just because I want you to have what you need, and then you can ask questions. So I'm kind of going to work through what the outline looks like, and then I'll cover it one more time at the very end. So stick with me here. Okay, so at the beginning here, make sure to let me know when you're going to be doing this, and we can figure out rooms and where you want to start, then where you'll break out to, all of those things, so that you are very aware of how the night's going to go. But in the room where you start with the prayer experience with the group, because that's what you do, you start with the group for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then you break into individual prayer. So you'll start all together first. So we need to pick a room where you can all meet together, whether it's a worship center or like one of the M11, L11 rooms, somewhere you can put chairs in a circle. So set in the environment, put chairs in a circle. I would encourage you to dim the lights. I think it's better if it's not so bright. It just helps people to not feel awkward, I guess, and then play some instrumental music, play some Christian music, whatever you want to do. Don't let it be distracting, but at the same time, I think it again helps. I think when it's bright and when it is silent, it becomes something that people just can't really let go of their thoughts and actions, perspectives, whatever it may be. So hopefully the environment can be something you can let people draw near to God. So think about that first, come early and set that up. When people show up, so say it's at 6:30, maybe come at 6:15, 6:10, set the environment, and then I would actually try to meet everyone outside of the room, because you want the room to be something where as soon as you guys go in, everything is very, very intentional. So I would meet people outside, whether it's in the lobby or outside the room, and you guys can do your chit chat, your small chat, small talk outside the room. And then when you are ready to start, I would encourage you to then work through the entire evening, work through the entire time, and then so they know exactly what's going to happen, and then pray. And then as soon as you guys go into the room, you're ready to go, if that makes sense. So set the environment, set the room, and then meet everyone outside, explain how the night's going to go, get them the materials that I will explain here in a minute. But as you go in, you're going to have 5 minutes of individual prayer, so people can clear their minds from the day, clear their minds from things that are happening, set their heart on what God has for them. So with that, then I would just encourage people to go in and sit at their spot, or sit, if you're in the worship center, go find a spot in the worship center. And then as soon as, it doesn't have to be exactly 5 minutes, but around, just tell people to take a few minutes. And then as soon as everyone comes back to the circle, then you can start. Okay. So you're explaining them, this is what's going to happen, 20 to 30 minutes of group prayer. And then you're going to have a time of individual prayer, about 45 to 60 minutes. Pass out the guides, make sure everyone is aware of what room they're going to be in. So if you have to walk the church, to make sure, okay, you go here, you go here, you go here, and then tell them, meet back by the tall tables, or meet back here at the end. So you're explaining the entire night for them, so that things don't have to be explained along the way, if that makes sense. Okay. So again, now that I explained that, then I'm going to explain exactly what the night will look like. Individual prayer, 5 to 10 minutes. I would say it usually is more like 3 to 5 minutes, but set things aside from the day, calm anxieties, prepare yourself, invite the Spirit in. As soon as you're ready, come on into the group circle. Again, somewhere usually around 5 minutes. When everyone comes to the group circle, you as the leader, or one of you as the leader, if you have a co-leader, or both of you, are going to have to kind of guide the entire experience. Okay. So beforehand, I would encourage you to pick 2 to 3. I think 3 is good. You certainly can do 2. So it's not as long. It just depends on what you want. But pick 2 scripture passages, 3 scripture passages beforehand. You can look at your leader's guide, page 95. This kind of lays it out. We've used Psalm 8, Philippians 2, 1 through 11, Psalm 148, Colossians 3, Psalm 103. Pick your own passages. There isn't really a requirement for what these are for. It's just things that point us to God, I guess, which all scripture should. So if you have favorite passages you think would be good to read, that's great. I would encourage people you to have, yourself and your co-leader, or pick someone else in the group that they know and are aware they're going to be reading this passage beforehand. So for you as a leader, to say, all right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go into this time of reading. So I'm going to read this passage twice. And then after that, I'm going to have you guys journal, spend some time thinking, just reading the words again, reflecting on what it says. And then what we're going to do is go into a time of group prayer, group reflection. Okay, so that's what the night's going to look like. Read the passage and then have a few minutes of silent reflection, journaling. I would encourage you to tell people to bring a journal, and then responsive group time. Now, the responsive group time, at times I've done this and people pray out loud and they say, God, they address it to God. There's been other times where people have said, I really loved about this passage is, so it's almost like they're more just talking to the group. So I'd say it's probably a mixture of both. I would say a lot of people are a little bit nervous about praying in front of others, but they might be willing to share a thought or a question they had or something like that. Okay, so that's what the first block will look like. And then as soon as you feel like enough people have shared, not everyone has to share, as soon as you feel like people have shared, then you'll prompt the next person to read. They'll read the passage, spend a few minutes in silent reflection, and then group prayer, next passage. So that's kind of how that goes. It's 3 parts to it. Reading the passage twice, probably, silent reflection, group reflection. As soon as you do that 3 times, you as the leader should pray for the group, just thanking God for the time, and then preparing people's hearts for the next time. Now, people at this point should already know where they're going, and they should know what time to be back. So, or at least you can say at this time, be back at such and such time. As people move into their time of individual prayer, the resources that I will have printed out for you that people can use are a listening prayer guide. Again, I'll print that out for you. The Rooted Prayer Week list, so things you guys have been praying for week to week. I'll print off the Good News prayer requests. Page 60 and 61 has the pray model, the Acts prayer model, reading through the Psalms or another portion of scripture, listening to worship music, reflecting on the lyrics, just sitting and being silent. Play music, talk aloud, eyes can be open, just have a conversation. People think that prayer has to be a certain way. And the cool part about being behind a closed door is that you can do whatever you want. And so if you want to encourage people to section it out, or say you're going to do this for a certain time, if they want to keep a timer, whatever they want to do. But that individual prayer time, I'm giving you as many resources as possible so that people can choose what they feel like is best. Okay. So during this time, you, of course, as a leader, is also going to be doing your individual time, but you should maybe set a timer for like 5 minutes ahead of everyone else so that you can be back at the place where you guys will be meeting. And then afterwards, hopefully you're going to do a debrief meal, or the next day, or at a Dairy Queen meal or something like that. You can do a debrief meal, but I encourage you to then maybe just spend some time hanging out. This will be a good time for you guys to get to know each other a little bit better, just hang out. But then at some point during the conversation, it would be best for you to ask people, how was the fasting experience? How did it impact your experience? What did you hear? What did you feel? And then what did you learn, or what did you experience that you would like to continue doing? So have people go around the table and ask those questions. Take notes during that time as well. So I'm going to work back one more time for you, just so you make sure you are aware of what is happening. First of all, when it comes to the fasting, again, it can be food. It could be social media. It could be, one time I did sports media over lunchtime. Oftentimes I would just read articles about sports. And I found that was distracting me. So for that time, and every time I really wanted to grab my phone, I would just start reading scripture or just start praying. So it doesn't have to be anything specific, but I would encourage you to challenge people to fast from something that distracts them from God, because that's really what it is, whether it's food or something else. It's helping you to remove the distraction, remove the thing that you rely on, and focus wholeheartedly on God. So encourage people to fast. What I've done before as well is had people text in your group message what they're fasting from, and then have them say one piece of encouragement throughout the 24 hours beforehand, if that makes sense. So have them say, I'm fasting from blank and blank. And then sometime throughout the 24 hours leading up to your prayer experience, have them send a message with an encouraging scripture, or just praying for you guys today, whatever it may be. So everyone is together in that. When you show up, set the environment, have it be in a circle, have there be dimming of the lights, play instrumental music, meet people outside the door, explain how the night's going to go. And then as you go in, it's going to be 5 minutes or so of individual prayer. As soon as people come back to the space together, then you as leader are going to read a passage, have people silently reflect, and then have people group prayer or share thoughts from it. Move on to the next one, move on to the next one, have people move into individual prayer, make sure that they have all the resources and things before. They know exactly where they're going to be. They know when to come back. People do their individual prayer. You guys come back together and then go do a debrief somewhere at that point. If you have any questions about this at all, please let me know. If you've gone through Rooted, you kind of know how this goes. If you haven't gone through Rooted, this might seem very foreign to you. So please, please, please let me help you. Don't be nervous or full of questions beforehand. I really want to make sure you're equipped. So this is going to be really special. It might be awkward at first, but I really hope you guys will come together and we'll connect during this time. So praying for you in this.